Hi guys, it's Belle here and I am back with day 21 of Defememberous prompts. Don't forget to check out both the hashtag and 49 Dragonflies and Louisa Hansel, who are the creators of this challenge. And today's prompt is Vintage Meets Modern. Now the eagle eye amongst you will notice that I have missed out Recycled Fairy. You are getting a Recycled Fairy. I just need to do some more prep for that one. So, Vintage Meets Modern. I immediately thought I wanted to use a Tim Holtz kind of vintage person. And I had so many ideas for this one. I was really thinking of those bright, you know, the 1960s cube paintings with a vintage thing in front. But I decided that we're going to make an envelope, a simple-ish envelope, and we're going to use some vintage music paper. And then, right, wait for it. This is not my style at all, guys. It's not. I'm debating whether I'm going to gesso this, but I wanted bright colours. I don't know why I think of bright colours. I think of when I think of the 20s and that, there was lots of muted browns and blues and things like that. But bright colours, I think sort of 60s, well, 50s, 60s mainly forward. So I've got this scrapbook paper. This is not my style. It came in a pack. But a lot of the flowers I'm using have pink on it, and I just wanted pink on this. I have no idea why, because I never know where I'm going to use this. So I'm going to take this piece of music paper, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this on here, because one, it makes the music paper sturdier, and two, I want the colour, that paper, on the inside. Yeah, I really want that on the inside. I think we all must have scrapbook papers like that, where we're like, oh, they come in a pack, and some of the packs okay. It was when I was scrapbooking, realistically, that when I first started scrapbooking, my daughter was quite young, and she was very girly, not like her mother at all. She was very girly, and a lot of her scrapbook stuff is pinks and blues and bright colours and lots of flowers. So yeah, so I'm going to put this vintage music paper on here. Let's get my bone folder and just really make sure this is pressed down well, especially these edges. I may sew. I mean, it's me. Although the last project I did on here, Nature's Treasure, I didn't do any sewing on that. So there we go. And then I am going to actually just rip down the edge of this. I should trim it really. But there we go. And here. This is such a simple envelope. I was going to do a more complicated one using my what's it called, my envelope punch board, because I don't use it as often as I should. But do you know what, with the way I wanted this looking, that just, I ended up deciding against that. And I also thought, this is, oh my gosh, it's so bright. This is an easy way to make an envelope. So, vintage music page. Now I'm going to fold this up to probably about here, because I want enough space on the front to do my decoration. Now realistically, if you've glued some paper onto paper, you need to wait realistically for it to stick and dry before folding. But there we go. And now I'm going to fold this one over. Honestly, guys, this is a really simple pocket. Like, takes no skill at all to make one of these. But also, that's going to work. I just need to check the height of this, actually. Okay, so 8.5. So it's a bit bigger, realistically, than would work on my page. So I'm going to just trim the edge, which I wasn't going to do, but now I am. And then I'm trimming this edge because I like it to look a bit more even. Right, so when you open it up, you're going to see those bright flowers. I am actually going to round the edges instead of cutting them. because it just gives it a more finished feel, I feel. And I'm also going to round these edges. That didn't round very well. There we go. Okay, I feel like that needs rounding a bit more. Yeah, I just feel like the rounded edges, because it's such a simple pocket, this just really gives it a bit of a more detailed and finished look. So, yes, this realistically would open like that, but I want it this way. I want to be able to decorate this way, and it is 4 3/4 inches this way, and now it is 7 3/4 inches this way. So first thing I'm going to do is ink it with some walnut stain. So we've got the Vintage Meets Modern already, because we've got the bright modern scrapbook paper in the bright colours and the sort of funky boldish pattern, and then we've got the vintage music paper. So yeah, so we've got that already. I'm also doing the crease where the envelope meets, but I wanted to do, again, I suppose it's quite simple. I'm trying to work out if I want to stitch around this. Do I want to stitch around it? Do you know what? I do want to stitch around it, guys. I know not everyone has a sewing machine, but if you don't, you can easily glue it. No, you can't glue it. Well, depends if you've got the Tim Holtz Glow texture paste, but you can easily glue it here and here. But I feel like, or do I want to stitch it? No, I'm not going to. I'm not going to stitch it. I may regret that, but worst comes to worst, I can come along and stitch it later. So let's just put some glue along this edge and some glue along this edge. I'm not going to finish the back piece. I'm only decorating the front at the moment, because I don't know how I want to put this in my journal, and I don't know what kind of closure I want, but for some reason I do want it this way. I don't know, that's what I want. So we are going to decorate. Now, I was wondering about gessoing this, because what I've got is I've got all these die cut flowers in pinks and greens and purples. So I was wondering about gessoing it. I also do have some of my tea bag left, which could give it an interesting, I know I had another piece. It could give it an interesting kind of extra look to it. Oh, there it is, like so. So I could gesso like maybe part of it, just so that the flowers stand out more. So let's do that. I don't think I'm going to gesso the whole thing though. I think I'm just going to, let me go get my paintbrush. Okay guys, so I'm going to, it's just cheap white acrylic gesso, and I'm going to just kind of do this area. I don't want the whole thing done, which we'll see if I like that or not. And it just mutes the other bits, so that will help the flowers stand out more. Yeah, I think so. I think this is what I want. So yeah, Vintage Meets Modern, there are so, I tell you, I had so many ideas, guys. I was like, wow, I want to try that. Oh, no, 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 no. Now I want to do that. And I really did have, the one thing that stayed constant in all my ideas was that I really wanted to have a bright burst of colour, such as pink. I don't know why, because I really am not a pink person. But I don't know, that's just what I wanted. So that's the one thing that stayed constant. So that's the thing that I adapted into this envelope. Right, okay, so it's just It's just done a little bit. So whilst that's drying, which is wrinkling a little bit because I should have waited for it to dry, I also want to use some Mod Podge, and I'm going to put some of my tea bag on there, just to give this little extra kind of almost vintage distressed feel. Yeah, it just adds some texture and interest to the background. I really love using tea bags in my work, guys. I really do. And thankfully I drink quite a lot of herbal tea, so I normally have quite a lot of tea bags to work with. If you don't, you could use your inks to get this kind of effect with a stencil or a stamp. And if you don't have those, you can use like possibly pens, things like that. I don't know, I haven't tried it with things like pens. Just ripping another bit of tea bag here. Just wondering if I want it kind of here. I think I do. But it's so easy with tea bags. If you use tea bags, you can even get like the clear ones that haven't had any tea and they are more for art, and you can use your inks on those, or coffee or tea dye them. Obviously they're tea bags, but yeah, you can do that if you don't like tea. So there's lots of ways you can do it. I'm doing it over here too, because then it just folds down over the top like so. But as I said, thankfully I drink a lot of tea, and that I'm wondering, I don't think I do want a bit down here, but then I think it'll finish it off if I do. So, and it will kind of tie the two sides together. So let's do that. It'll probably get completely hidden by the flowers I'm going to use, but there we go. So I'm going to put this along here, but the gesso's not dry now. So what I need to do is I need to go dry the gesso and then probably dry this Mod Podge, and I will be back. Okay guys, so there we have it. Look, that's along the bottom, and you can see it already looks a bit brighter than these, because obviously we've got gesso on here. And yeah, we've got, oh my gosh, it's so weird. I've got this a beautiful lady, a Tim Holtz doll, and I really want her to sit on there. I've got this Tim Holtz bit that says London Bridge, which I feel like she does look like she's waiting to go on a trip. I don't know why, it just gives me those vibes. So I wanted to use the London Bridge, although you're only going to see bridge. I could put it down, and then she could sit on something else, couldn't she, guys? Like, oh, I've got tickets, haven't I? I was going to use some tickets. Again, just looking through some Tim Holtz ephemera. I love his little, like, field notes and snippets and things, because they often have a vintage feel. Oh, we've got a postcard there too. A vintage feel, but they... finish your word, Belle. They're obviously modern. They're for us to use. So I need her sitting on something more. So I have this. I need her just sitting. It kind of uses all that up. Let's have a look. I do have tickets, and I was going to use a ticket on here too. Some of them are vintage, but maybe that. This one isn't vintage, but she could sit on that, and it does say admit one, like so, possibly. And then we could have like a letter, because she's going to go and see another ticket. I feel like I like that as well. So she's going to be sitting like that. But we've got all these bright die cut flowers that I want to put behind her. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of glue these together a little bit so that it becomes stuck together. So I've got it all together and I can use it as a whole and then place the flowers. So I'm going to glue this here. Go down. I realised I haven't inked any of the edges of any of this. So let's ink some edges while I'm at it. I want that there. And then let's glue along here. And we want that there because I want it to say, sort of read it as London Bridge. A little foot dangling over. And then we want this. You may be asking, what's the point of adding that one then? Because I like the number on it. And I didn't ink these either. Belle, what are you doing? Let's ink these up. Let's give her a bit of an ink around too. Okay, so she is going to go on. I'm trying to move this a little bit now. A bit like that. I may still add more. Like I might add this behind because I do quite like the writing as well. Do you know what? Yeah, I do. Okay, so I looked at that and already I like it. But I might also want a flower behind her. So I'm just going to glue this on this very edge because I might want to put a flower behind her. Okay, so that's her little bit. And I do want to put this postcard on. But that's her little bit. So now we're going to get on with the flowers. So yeah, so I've just got all these die cuts. And the thing is, I don't want to ink these. I want to literally put them on as they are because I want them to pop. I want them to stand out against the more vintage background. Oh, this is going to be fun, isn't it? So yeah, so we're going to start with a nice big pink one. Because that's the colour we're going for, guys. I don't know if I will ever use this piece, which sounds awful, but I just don't usually use pink. And then we've got this fun purple one. We've got some more pink down here. We've got some of these fun dyed ones, which I do really like as well. I might put that down there. But this large, that's shiny. Oh, I do love that, but I feel like I want to use that on top of something. Like that would look nice like that. So let's put this down. It is interesting seeing what everyone's doing. I really think Vintage Meets Modern is something that's a really simple prompt because a lot of us journalers, especially if you're a junk journaler, will automatically already be doing Vintage Meets Modern with a lot of things that you do. Because, see, I've got a purple one of these. I do think I want that there too. Because we use a lot of vintage in our journals, but we're using them in modern books with some modern ephemera. And often, I want to say modern techniques, but not everything is modern techniques. You know, let's face it, things like decoupage and that have been around for many, many years. Let's snip those. Okay, that's looking good. That's looking good. So yeah, I've got all these flowers. Got another big one here. I'm just layering them up on top of each other, and she will be sitting beside it. I'm trying to work out if I want some flowers behind her as well. I don't think I do. That's the thing. Yeah, I don't know. So again, you can use die cuts for these. You could, if you are talented, draw your own and either cut them out or draw them on the piece of paper. I am not that talented. You could use punches for these kind of techniques, depending on the, you know, I don't know if there's punches that do big flowers like this, but I know you could just build up flowers or maybe some leaves. You could use images from a magazine, you know, use what you've got, guys. I have loads of these, and they are in pastel colours because they are left over from a journal that I did do that had lots of pinks and purples, which again is not my usual style, but it worked for that. I do really want this one, I think. Let's see where she's going to go again. Do really like that one. Yep, I like that one there. Do I want to put another one? I've got this very inked up one too, which is quite beautiful. Do I want it there? I might have it there. Yeah, so there's lots of ways that you can do something similar. Just use what you've got and be inspired by what is in your craft room and in your stash. And as Louisa and Barbara keep saying, this is the time to try something new, or just play and have some fun with things that maybe you wouldn't always do. I love this shiny one, guys. Just, can you see that? I don't know if it's picking it up. It was cut out of like iridescent vellum. I was gifted it a long time ago. I do not have this vellum, but I would love this vellum. And I'm just building it up. I'm just putting more and more pieces, you know, on here. I know I could wait to cut them all till near the end, couldn't I? But I'm a little impatient. Not impatient. I just work better when I'm looking at it like that. And then we're going to put this one here. That's so pretty, this one. Yeah, these coloured ones, I just got some watercolour paper and was playing with my inks. Again, for another journal. Okay, let's put her on there and see how we're doing. I just think that's so pretty. And I may put another bright pink one right here at the front. Yeah, I think I will. I don't need all of it. And I need to poke out. How do I always get so messy? Or actually, why don't we add a bit more purple? Because we haven't got lots of purple. Purple? No, let's do it. Let's go pink. Crazy. It's crazy. Let's poke these bits out. I don't need all of this flower. So we shall do this. And just stick this down there. Like so. And then let's cut all of this off. And see if I do want to add. Oh my gosh, you moved. Need to glue that a bit better. See if I want to add just a little purple bit here. And I do. Just want it here to finish off. There's a little bit of white space and it's bothering me. Even though there's white space all over in other bits. But that's bothering me, so that's getting covered with this little bit of purple flower. Get rid of that. Let's put that there. Let's press that down. This vellum. Okay. We also have this little bit that I just thought was super cute too. Right, leave that for the moment. Let's get this lady. I'm going to lift her up a little bit, or do I want it? No, I want her down here. See, we didn't really see much of that tea bag down there, so what was the point of doing it? But you never know until you start gluing things what you want. So that's the point. You just never know. Do I want a little thing there? Across here. I've got the letter still. I think I'm going to use the letter. Like I said, it makes me feel like she's traveling. Maybe she's going to see a friend. Maybe she's going to see her craft friend. Maybe they're going to do some journaling together. So she's taking a trip to see her crafty bestie. That's what I'm thinking in my head. And she's waiting on the train. And she's like, okay, I'm just going to sit down on this pile of packages and think about what I'm going to make. So what she's doing is, this is what I'm thinking. She's sitting in this awful station. Not awful, but you know, loads of people around, loads of noise and everything. But she's daydreaming about these flowers and being out in the countryside, because maybe, okay, so story's progressing in my head. Maybe she lives in London and she's travelling out of London to see her friend who happens to live in the countryside, and she's dreaming of all these beautiful flowers that she is going to see. Where'd that little bag go? That she is going to see when she goes and meets up with her friend, and she's dreaming of her little rest, her little holiday, and they can do a little bit of crafting together and catch up, have some tea. A little bit of a catch up. I want that up there, I think. Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking now. She lives in London and she's on her way out of London. So she's daydreaming, and this looks like a city, and she's daydreaming about the beautiful meadows that she's going to spend time walking around with, catching up with her friend. And what was the point of putting that to get there too? Catching up with her friend, as they chat. And then what I want, firstly, I'm going to just do a bit of inking around here just to frame it out a little bit, including down here where the gesso and the flowers are, but not on the flowers, just on the edges. And then I'm thinking I want, oh my gosh, where did I put it? I want a word of some sort, and now I can't see where I put it, so I'm going to be back. Okay, so I've got these stickers and I want to put the word, I think, up here. I wanted to say the adventure begins. Beautiful day. Hello, friend. The adventure begins, I think. Or adventure waits. Hello, friend. Adventure waits. Oh, I like that, because as I said, she's going to go and see her friend. So let's get that out and then we can see. Hello, friend. The adventure begins, or adventure waits? The adventure begins. It actually reminds me of a dear friend of mine who, for years, when my kids were little, once a year, me and her would meet up. Where do I want this? Kind of, do I want it there? We would meet up. I'm looking at that now and I'm feeling like I want fabric or something underneath it. And we would go travelling just once a year. Kids were little, so yeah, I could have a little bit of a break and go on holiday, and yeah, that's what we would do, meet up and go on holiday. And we had some great adventures. She was actually someone I met at university, and yeah, we've had some beautiful adventures together, and I really needed them. A young mum of 3, yeah, you need a break, don't you? So yeah, once a year. So it makes me think of that, because she actually lives in London, so it's the other way. I would travel up to London because we could get the planes from there. Let's fray this. It's better if it's ripped, but there we go. I think that's going to be too short. but that's okay because I can use this one. Yes, so she lived in London, or lives still, and yeah, it was a time of year I'd look forward to because it was just the two of us going off on adventures. And yeah, this kind of puts me in mind of it now. Isn't it funny how sometimes we're crafting something and a story comes from that piece? I do still want to see some of that tea bag. So, try to see which way I want this. I feel like I want it like this. I want it more like that in the middle. Do you know what? I'm going to go for it that way. And the fabric just adds, again, a bit of, frames the words, a bit of texture, and makes the words pop a little bit more, because of when they're on the tea bag, it didn't quite look right being stuck straight onto there. So that's that. Wondering now. Oh well, can't move it. It is where it is. So guys, that is day 19. I'm trying to get this lid on my glue. That is day 19. So let me put this on the back here so you can see. So vintage meets modern. We've got vintage music paper, and it's an envelope, and we open it up and we've got this really bright paper inside. And then to pick up the colours on here, we've got all these beautiful bright flowers, but we've got a vintage looking lady with some vintage looking ephemera. And then the tea bag just adds a little bit again of distressed and vintage. And then we've got this fun envelope which can be tucked in a pocket. It can be put on a page as a flip out. It can be put over a page as a flip out. It can be put in as a floating pocket. So that's it, guys. That is day 19, Vintage Meets Modern. I hope you enjoyed this. Please do like it and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will be back again soon with another video. So wherever you are in the world, I hope you're all having lots and lots of crafty fun. Bye for now, guys.